Ocean Soup, Tide Pool Poems by Stephen R. Swinburne, illustrated by Mary Peterson. Tide pools contain mysterious worlds where all the beauty of the sea is subtly suggested and portrayed in miniature. Rachel Carson. The Soup That Bites. Tide pool soup is really good, a most delicious snack. But careful, when you take a bite, this soup might bite you back. Crabs will pinch and urchins poke. It's rough out there, no joke. Tide pools. Tide pool animals have developed ways to survive the daily changes in their habitat. Barnacles and mussels shut tight when exposed to air and hot sun, keeping them moist inside their shells. Starfish, crabs, and small fish seek shelter under damp rocks or wet seaweed. Barnacle Wrap. Lying on my back in this small teepee, waiting for the tide, waiting for the sea. I want to filter feed, to filter feed. Waves tumble in, I'm in the mood to open my top and snatch some food and do the filter feed, the filter feed. Don't want no crab, don't want no prawn. All I want to eat is fresh plankton. I do the filter feed, the filter feed. I got rhythm dancing in the brine. Life as a barnacle is so sublime. I love the filter feed, the filter feed. Barnacles. Barnacles are related to crabs, shrimp, and lobsters. What does a barnacle look like inside its little white home? Imagine a tiny shrimp-like creature with its head stuck to the floor, kicking food into its mouth with its legs. Barnacles fasten themselves to any surface: rocks, pilings, boats, even whales and sea turtles. Hairy Doris. Hello, my name is Doris. I'm a shellless gastropod, but you can call me sea slug if gastropod sounds odd. Don't you think I'm gorgeous? With my raspy tongue I scrape for bits of healthy food to eat. A slug must watch her shape. I'm really rather lucky that I have no pesky shell. Behold my lovely body, I'm a stunning tide pool belle. Hello, my name is Doris. I'm a shellless gastropod, but you can call me sea slug if gastropod sounds odd. Sea slugs. Sea slugs use tentacles on their heads to smell and touch. They eat plants or small animals by scraping them off rocks and seaweed with their tongues. The jelly-like body of marine sea slugs vary in color more than those of garden slugs. I love my spines. I love my spines, I really do. If you were spiny, wouldn't you? They're long and sharp and very green. My mother says to keep them clean. My friends have claws and arms and feet, but spines are different. Spines are neat. Somewhere past the water line, there's a mammal called the porcupine. Its spines are really cool, I bet, but I think spines are better wet. Sea urchins. Sea urchins are also called pincushions of the sea. They keep to the dark places of the tide pool and camouflage themselves with bits of seaweed and shells. Gulls, crabs, starfish, and sea otters like to eat sea urchins. Old, cold fish. Hello, little shrimp. I need a better look. I'm an old cold fish with bulgy eyes living in this nook. Swim closer if you will, it's hard for me to hear. I'm an old cold fish with bulgy eyes underneath this pier. What was that you said? Come whisper in my ear. I'm an old cold fish with bulgy eyes, my charming shrimpy dear. Yes, you're nice and close. No need to look alarmed. I'm an old cold fish with bulgy eyes. I'd never cause you harm. Gulp! You're tasty, little shrimp, a yummy meal at that. I'm an old cold fish with bulgy eyes. I'm glad we had this chat. Sculpins. Sculpins have large armored heads with sharp spines along the sides. These well-camouflaged fish lurk among rocks and seaweed. If small fish or shrimp come within striking distance, sculpins open their huge mouths like a trap. Water rushes in along with the victims. Move over, mussel. Move over, mussel. You're sitting on my thread. How's a mussel supposed to eat in this overcrowded bed? Move over, mussel. You know I got here first. There are way too many mussels here. This bed's about to burst. Move over, mussel. You're getting in my face. I'm putting down my foot. I've got to leave this place. Move over, mussel. It's time to relocate. These mussels are too greedy and much too overweight. Mussels. Mussels are filter feeders with two siphons or tubes. One tube sucks water and plankton in, and the other spews water and waste out. Mussels filter about 10 to 15 gallons of water per day. They anchor themselves to tide pool rocks with tough, sticky threads made by a gland in their foot. Regenerate. In the tide pool where I dwell, 5 arms grasp a mussel shell. A crab comes. Snip! There goes my arm. Rude, yes, but I'm not alarmed. There won't be need to operate, since starfish arms regenerate. Starfish, also called sea stars, are related to sea urchins. While urchins are vegetarians, starfish are aggressive carnivores. A starfish first wraps its arms around a mussel or clam. Then it wrenches open the shelled creature, slips its stomach inside the shell, and begins eating. Starfish have an amazing ability to regenerate. A whole new starfish can grow from just one arm and a small part of the body. Dome home. I'm a hermit crab who needs a home. I've got to find the perfect dome. I'm looking for a carapace, a nice new shell with lots of space. Scuttle to the left, scuttle to the right. In my new shell, I'll scuttle all night. A bigger shell would suit me more. I'll search across this tide pool floor. Let's go crab walk into town. I'll keep my eye stalks looking down. Scuttle to the left, scuttle to the right. In my new shell, I'll scuttle all night. Here's a shell a crab could love. Hey, it fits me like a glove. I wave my claws in celebration. Look at me, a chic crustacean. Scuttle to the left, scuttle to the right. In my new shell, I'll scuttle all night. Hermit crabs. Hermit crabs are born without shells on their abdomens. They locate discarded shells from creatures such as whelks or moon snails and use them for protection. As hermit crabs' bodies grow, the crabs seek out larger and larger shells. Room with a view. I live in a room by the sea, where the view is great and the food is free. Some of the tenants come and go, some I eat if they're too slow. One end of me is firmly locked, the other end just gently rocks. I live in a room by the sea. It's perfect for an anemone. Anemones. Sea anemones look like underwater flowers, but they are actually carnivorous animals related to jellyfish. Anemone tentacles, like those of the jellyfish, are armed with tiny poisonous sacs that paralyze small fish on contact. The tentacles then contract, drawing prey into the anemone's mouth. Bully of the tide. I'm a low-down, dirty lobster, bully of the tide. You better keep your head down, you better run and hide. Check out my huge thorax. Have you ever seen such claws? I nosh on crabs and starfish. Clams I like to gnaw. I hunt food at nighttime. I like to dine alone. I'll nibble on your babies. I'll eat you when full grown. I'm a low-down, dirty lobster, bully of the tide. You better keep your head down. You better run and hide. I'm a low-down, dirty lobster, bully of the tide. You better run for cover unless you want to die. I'll crunch you when you're living. I'll scavenge your remains. I'll suck up all your juices. I'll pick apart your brains. I'm not big into veggies. Call me carnivore. I find the meat I want to eat. It's all along the shore. I'm a low-down, dirty lobster, bully of the tide. You better keep your head down. You better run and hide. Lobsters. Lobsters are eating machines. They crush food with their heavy front claw and chop it up with their smaller one. Lobsters will eat everything, from seaweed to clams to crabs to mussels to worms to urchins to fish, and they'll eat them dead or alive. Lobsters even munch on other lobsters. A starfish interviews an octopus. Where are you, octopus? Hiding in a crevice, trying to catch some Z's, waiting to greet you with a saltwater squeeze. I hear you have 3 hearts. Is that true? 2 hearts pump blood through each of my gills, a third pumps blood to keep away the chills. What do you eat? I chomp on clams and crabs and fish, snails and scallops make a very dainty dish. How do you move? I creep, I crawl, I scuttle and slide, across the sand and rocks I glide. Aren't you forgetting one other way you move? I squirt water from my funnel to help me jet away. This skill helps me escape and also gets me prey. Why are you looking at me like that, octopus? All this chatter made me hungry for meat. You look so sweet. Good enough to eat. Octopuses. Octopuses come equipped with 3 hearts and hundreds of suckers on their 8 muscular arms. They also have a hard, parrot-like beak that tears pieces of flesh from their prey. Octopus don't have any bones, and even a large octopus can squeeze into a hole the size of a quarter. Food in the water. We hear the waves coming, they're not far away. Our food's in the water, in the wet, wild spray. We see the waves coming, foamy and white. Our food's in the water, we'll soon take a bite. We feel the waves coming with a boom and a crash. Our food's in the water, in the next ocean splash. We taste the waves at last, all bubbly and cool. Our food's in the water, we love our tide pool. Plankton. The ocean is filled with huge drifting clouds of microscopic plants and animals called plankton. Twice a day the tides rise and wash over the rocky shore with a fresh plankton soup. Barnacles, clams, mussels, and other filter feeders hungrily snatch and strain plankton from the seawater. The incoming tide is so incredibly rich that a drop of ocean contains thousands of plankton.